Star Wars The Clone Wars has the near impossible task of making us root for the character of Anakin Skywalker. They needed to make Darth Vader, aka Mr. Youngling Butcher himself, likable enough to follow while also foreshadowing his eventual fall to the dark side. But they pulled it off near perfectly, due in large part to the fact that whenever Anakin gives into the dark side a little bit, he's usually at least a little right morally. So how exactly do they do this? Well, let's look at the episode Voyage of Temptation for what is, for my money, the best example in the whole show. At the end of the episode, Obi-Wan is presented with a choice. See, this bad guy Merrick is about to escape and blow up the ship that they're on. Now, Obi-Wan can either kill Merrick in cold blood or let him escape and risk everyone on the ship dying. For reasons I'll get into later, Obi-Wan hesitates and then this happens.
Who will strike first and brand themselves a cold-blooded killer?
So this scene is full of foreshadowing for Anakin's eventual turn to the dark side. It obviously labels him as a killer, and there's actually a bit of the Imperial March, Vader's theme, playing in the background. But the thing is, Anakin's 100% right to kill Merrick. He killed a murderous, evil man to save an entire ship of innocent people. It's not exactly the trolley problem, is all I'm saying. But nevertheless, killing Merrick so gleefully and from behind, which is typically seen as a very dishonorable thing to do, doesn't fit in with the Jedi's image as monk peacekeepers. Don't get me wrong, I think most if not all of the Jedi would have sided with Anakin and killed Merrick, but it's nevertheless at least a little antithetical to their way to kill so casually. It's a good example of how Anakin doesn't really vibe with the Jedi Order in terms of ethics, and is more of a war general at this point than anything else. He doesn't totally agree with the Jedi like Obi-Wan does, and is more so fighting because he wants to protect his loved ones, which is pretty likable. Another good example of this is when Anakin meets Grand Moff Tarkin and they agree that the Jedi should act less as peacekeepers and more as ruthless warriors to do whatever it takes to win. The Imperial March actually plays in that scene too, FYI. His priority is clearly winning the war more than acting as a Jedi, and this alienation from the, let's be honest, pretty stupid ethics and way of the Jedi Order foreshadows his fall to the dark side. However, we the audience still come away from this scene liking Anakin because he's morally righteous and is only straying from the Jedi Order to protect others. So to recap, Anakin just murdered someone from behind in a pretty brutal way, hinting towards his eventual fall, and we come away from it completely on his side. I see way more people angry with Obi-Wan for hesitating, even though it was only for a few seconds. But Obi-Wan's hesitation is actually way more significant than it seems, and especially in relation to Anakin. So Obi-Wan only hesitated to kill Merrick because it would mean destroying his relationship with his secret love, Duchess Satine, who is an ardent pacifist. Very briefly, he actually picks love over his duty as a Jedi, and it very nearly gets everyone on the ship killed. And this relates to Anakin because he repeatedly picks his love for Padme and his friends over his duties as a Jedi. So by showing the potential disastrous consequences of Obi-Wan prioritizing his love for even a second, it warns us of what will happen if Anakin continues on this path. And of course, we know what happens.